restlessness, I don't know why. Just can't get away from myself. When I get back on my feet, I'll blow this open wide and carry me home in good health.
Okay, so have you had enough? Have you had enough time of confusion, disappointment, anxiety, stress, anger? Are you ready to move out? Are you ready to move out of it? Isn't that what's happening to all of us right now? Just, you can't even get away from real life. Like, I've been out of concealer for like a little bit now, and it's not okay. But I feel like if I walk into the drugstore to buy that, I just don't want to see everyone glare at me. So anyways, I'm ready to move out of it. I've spent 25 days feeling all of the feelings and cooking aimlessly in my kitchen because that's clearly how I numb out, or just like continually hiking or jogging, or I basically can make my day up of like making peanut butter balls and all sorts of things we don't really need in the freezer just because that's how I numb out. So I learned that. But I think we're all ready to move out of it. Like if you sneeze, I'm still gonna say Corona because it's just even funnier than bless you. But I think we're ready to move out of this or to reframe it and to learn more about ourselves from this. This is monumental. Like this has, well, I wanna say never happened, but like I have only been on this earth 37 years, but this stuff doesn't happen. And so if you think that life isn't happening to you, but it's happening for you, you have to reframe some of this stuff and recognize the best parts of it. Last night I asked my family at dinner what their favorite parts were about the pandemic, and the kids said video games, classic, going biking, being home as a family, not getting up at a certain time. And when I asked my husband, he's like, what, I'm part of this game? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, nothing. Because you know what? The Oilers were about to make the playoffs. And that is, he's still on like day 26 of being stuck in the suck. So I want to look at the things and just kind of break down a few things and figure out where you guys are at. But I want you to ask yourself, and there's no answer to this right away. You just have to like really marinate on it. What is your empty calendar teaching you? About yourself, about how you're running your life, your family, about who you want to be. For men, what have you learned since the sports on Twitter got quiet? What have you learned since some of this shut off? Did you previously find your worth in your job or a certain aspect of your job, and now that that's over, or it's changed so much you don't recognize it? What does that feel like? I hate to feel my feelings. I would much rather, I'm sorry, I have a little friend with me. I would much, oh, he made me a crown. Can I try it on?
It's not done yet. Okay.
Thanks, Colston. This is a really great crown. Oh, and it looks very nice on me. It's not done. We would much rather not feel any of these things, but it's so important to feel it and stay in it. And so we need to go full stop. Full stop. And like that song just said, we need to have like a full stop before we can carry on in good health. And so how do we dissect this? How has our mindset shifted? And if you're still in the suck, that's okay. But this is gonna go on for a while and you just can't stay there because it just eats you. Failing to learn from life experiences, wasting pain, grief, disappointment would be a big loss. Because there's so much to be learned from everything that we're going through right now. Even to be reframed as like, how do you want to live your life after this is done? What have you learned from this break, from this change? What have you learned about things that align with you? Like, do you want to be as busy as you were before? How do you want to learn from this? And how do you want to be intentional about it? And so we need to grow through these experiences and not waste them. So if you equate this to school, you don't want to stay in the same grade next year. You want to learn the lessons you have to this year and you want to progress to the next grade. And so, when we were kids and you were like really scared, like some of you are like, well, I was never scared of that, but where you were scared you might fail a grade, like our kids don't even have that fear. Colston, would you ever fail a grade?
No.
No. And he's really smart. But yeah, so we could equate this to school. We want to learn the lessons that we have to learn so that we can graduate. We don't want to have to repeat the grades. So every time we're in these, what?
I don't.
You don't? Every time we have to learn these things, we need to stop and learn them so we don't have to repeat the same life lessons over and over. I know for myself, when I'm stressed, I regress. And that's what I did in this last 25 days, where I couldn't even get thoughts out. Went through the anger, the sadness, I'm not canceling plans, until finally I was like, no, I have to make this change. And so life has really forced us to do something right now it doesn't normally do. And then you add things like guilt to the situation, or insecurity, or sadness, and we need to add grace and that's very nice. We need to add grace, and we need to add awareness. And then, as much as I like to stop at the level of awareness, we need to dig under that. So what does that say about where we find our worth, or how we cope with things? And so my empty calendar has taught me that I numb out with cooking and exercise. I will wander around the kitchen aimlessly, making things that I don't need to be making. And it's funny because you can pass that off as productive. And yet, if I can tell in my heart that I'm kind of feeling like I should be digging into some of this, I should be journaling, I should be praying, I should be doing whatever. But I'm not. I'm just walking around cooking things or baking things, or hiking or exercising. And those appear healthy, and they are great things in my life. But when I'm using them as a way to numb out, I'm hiding from something. Slowing down has taught me the importance of self-care, the importance of sleep, the importance of playing with my kids. I realized also that a lot of the things I was feeling insecure about regarding my kids not being in school had nothing to do with their teachers or what they were currently learning. And I thought this was really funny. So the insecurity that I have around them not being in school, it's because I'm afraid their brains are dying. I literally was their brains are gonna die. Your brain's not dying? No, okay. And so I had that fear in me, that that panic. And whenever we feel, you wanna say hi?
Hey.
Hi. And whenever we feel that sort of panic, we have to stop and make it logical. So then I had to ask myself, okay, are their brains going to die? No. They're and recognizing that we're gonna get through this and it's gonna be fine. But what I did learn is that the things I really want them to learn is how to clean a house, how to cook, how to memorize Bible verses, how to make good choices every day. I want to teach them how to choose stuff that they don't want to do just because it's good for them to do it. Because I think that one of the biggest lessons I want to teach them is they don't need to indulge everything they want to do. But guess what? Those have always been my job to teach them. That's not different. That's always been on me. And yet for some reason I was they're going to go to school and someone's going to teach them how to dust or clean a toilet. And yet that's not logical. I know that's my job. So that reiterated that. That was never the job of their teachers. We know as grown-ups that just because something feels good doesn't mean we should do it, or do it in excess. And so I think this coronavirus has taught us a ton about our desire to indulge. I don't want to not go to the store to buy time if my recipe calls for it, especially because I'm aimlessly cooking for hours. These are important things. But what all of a sudden I realize is there's so much of this that I don't need, and that's good, because then I'm not controlled by some of that stuff. So anyways, I would love some messages from some of you about what good has come out of this. What are the things that you've learned that you're really excited about? What's changed in your family? What have you been able to dig under and find out how you guys are gonna come out of this better than you were before? Because this is really cool. It's a really special thing to go through this with our families and our friends, and even just the way that being so far apart from people physically has bonded us together, because we're humans and we desire connection, and it's within our nature to look and strive for that connection. So what incredible moments are you encountering? Do you see the good parts? And I like what happens when we're forced to be creative. I like that I learned that I'm milling around the kitchen just cooking things to no end. And when we're running and we're gonna take the hill, how you take the hill, Rachel Hollis said this yesterday, how you take the hill is really symbolic to how you take things in life. So I will pick people off if I'm running on a hill in a race. I don't slow down. I'm more likely to stop on flat ground, which I know you shouldn't do, but if you look at how you take the hill in life, it's pretty accurate how you face things. So, but even just, it's not bad if you face it differently than I do. It's just recognizing, okay, so before I face that hill, I need to like stop and regroup. And then I'm going to take it full force, or I'm going to walk slowly up the hill and then I'm going to run after. It's about being intentional with your life and your plan. And you're in control of what you think. So as much as society wants you to watch the news every day and just panic and buy into that propaganda and fear, you don't have to. You're totally in control of that. So I'm out of the suck. I've climbed out of it with you, and there's so much good I think that can come from this. And I just hope that you're finding that, and that you are feeling inspired and excited to keep moving and to grow forward. And yeah, this is a really long video, so I'm really happy if you made it all the way to 10 minutes and 48 seconds. Take care.